And there we are, we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Captain Future show about the Hack the Crisis. Today I've been joining from the beginning with Dimitrij from Helsingborg in Sweden, who participated in the hackathon, and Nathaniel from Australia, who was one of the organizers for the hackathon.
Yep.
So, and we are just waiting for some people to join in here. So let's see. We have also a guest, Stellan, is coming here. I see he's on my link here. So is going to join in, and it's been a hectic weekend for many people. There's so many people who are still working full stop here in Sweden. So the organizers in Sweden are still working full time with this. We're going to see if we can bring them on later tonight or tomorrow to talk about the experience. And I'm reaching out to people all over the world on Twitter as well, but there's not been too many who follow the hit hashtags and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, hello, Stellan. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Captain Future.
Yeah. We just gone live here with Captain Future show. So, and you participated as a guest in the last call as well. So, we're gonna start with let's start with talking about the experience of participating in an event like this. This is the first event that is digital for many. It's also one of the first organized events that goes on all over the world. So it's a global event as well. So let's start with you, Nathaniel. What's your experience as an organizer?
My experience, it was honestly crazy. Like I said before, we basically organized it in a week, and so it was the four of us just hacking away at our own hackathon, really, to really launch this hackathon. And so we ended up just finishing yesterday. And so we've just judged everything, gone through all the submissions. And we had about 300 participants and 40 submissions at the very end. And it was really cool to see because over half of them were from international applicants. So we had people from Estonia, we had people from Finland, from the UK, from the US. And they all paired up with Australian teams to create such cool things in just 2 days.
Ah, cool.
Wow. I'm really impressed. I have a question for you, Nathaniel. What was the main reason to why you could arrange it so fast or so quick in so short time period, would you say?
I think no sleep is the answer, but
but I mean, from a starting point, I realized that you said more or less that you created the whole setup for in a couple of days. Is that right? Did I understand you right?
Yeah, that's correct. I honestly don't know how we did it. I think it was just really having a good team and having a supportive community, because I think a lot of people in Australia really care about the coronavirus and can often feel really helpless. So when we sort of came up with this took it from Estonia, everyone was really eager to jump on board and help wherever they could. And so that made the process much faster in terms of organizing everything.
That's really interesting. And if you say lesson learned, what would you say 3 main lesson learned to be able to arrange such a thing with that short time period?
Oh, okay. 3 main lessons. That's difficult. You're asking tough questions already.
Okay, you can go for one.
I think the biggest thing is just going out and doing it, regardless of not focusing so much on the small details, but just pushing it out there and trying to launch rather than trying to make everything perfect before we go out. Because along the way, we learned a lot about how we should better structure the virtual hackathon. But if we never got started, we never would have got the traction to get that feedback, and there wouldn't have been a feedback loop. So I think it's really important to remember that everything is a gradual process, and it's not you don't have to start something perfect in order for it to go well. Yeah.
Wow. So I listen and I understand it as having a very clear intent and going for that no matter what, and then also allow learning loops, because you have to be able to do something to learn in some
definitely.
way.
Yeah.
Great. Dimitrij, you're also a part of the Captain Future show yesterday, and what do you say about this?
It's really cool experience. I participate in different hackathons. I arranged hackathons previously. It's not my first virtual hackathon. There a company that specialize on doing hackathons in Europe. So I've been like doing BMW hackathon virtual for a couple of years ago. It's really cool. But I really impressed of I don't know how it's in Australia, but in Sweden it was around 7,000 participants.
Wow.
And 200 mentors, and half of them was like government connected, which means that it was like different municipalities, different like government organization during the weekend that was answering the questions.
Amazing.
Maybe they couldn't fix everything or could give you access to everything, but they was available there. So it was like really amazing experience. And from my point of view, it's not that of course it was an impact of what people was producing and doing, and now the judges have work to do of like judging these things. But I think the most value is that people was inspiring other organization how it's possible to work with different ideas, how it's possible to quickly to launch the things. You shouldn't be like 100% proud of your project. Just launch it and learn and see what's going on, and just like what you are telling about the hackathons, that you are if I understand correctly, you're not really happy with everything what happened, but you're happy that you executed and learn everything.
Exactly.
But, it's so difficult to push yourself to do something, and you just put video online with your idea and talk about your idea. It's so difficult because it's like it's not perfect, it's not maybe tested 100%, but just doing it, pushing and learning and getting feedback, and then like like link startup, like doing it continuously.
Build, test, learn. Yeah. So true.
Dimitrij, I have just a little question because I don't really understand. So this question is not questioning; it's more like, what do the judges do? Why do you need judges?
In hackathons?
Yeah.
I don't know how about Australian hackathon, but in Sweden, first of all, in usual hackathons, of course, you need to have some type of judges just to give some type of feedback. Because
so it's a feedback loop more than a judge.
But we have also some money involved in that. I think I'm not really. I didn't understand how much or something, but there's some pot of money that need to be distributed to the teams that did really good. So there, of course, some type of that work need to be done, and somebody need to get this prize or something.
Like in Australia. Oh, sorry.
You go first, Nathaniel.
Yeah.
You go first.
Yeah, in Australia, so we have judges to sort of like, I guess, look at the projects and see which ones would be the most sort of desirable in a real life business sense, and are feasible to make, and have sort of that polish and design. And based on that, we award like various prizes. So we had everything from like a ticket to Singularity University Summit, which is valued at like $1,000 per ticket, to like HubSpot packages, to like cash prizes. And so the judging process is just sort of seeing which project meets all these criteria and therefore is eligible for the prizes. So our criteria was like feasibility, desirability, actual like ability to actually execute and make the product, and how much they've shown there.
And we maybe shouldn't focus on this question here, but Dimitrij, I would really like, and maybe Captain Future, we can have this in a separate show, because I believe when you have those kind of extrinsic things, and at the same time some kind of a judge. I was a part of Venture Cup in Sweden for many years in the so-called judges group, but I would say we had to redefine the whole setup during that time period, because instead of believing that you have some kind of a better knowledge, we redefined it to how can we build upon and always lift those ideas up.
That's really interesting.
But we can take that in another session, I guess.
Yeah,
it's not
that's a very
directly
good
connected.
question. Yeah.
I can tell you a little bit about like Venture Cup. It's a student competition. I've been participating in that when I was a student back in the days, and I never won that. But it's what it created. It's I've been. And I had really good ideas and execution and everything, and some ideas that was going faster. It was like, wow, why my ideas is not going faster? But that one of the reason I became entrepreneur and started different companies, because I was a little bit like, I never win. What's wrong with me? And I starting to investigate and build companies and make money on the ideas that I was submitting, instead of like focusing on like winning the competition. So it's not about the winning. It's more about this like that competition pushed somebody to do something, and then like go out there and do the stuff.
I agree on this, Dimitrij. What I'm saying is more or less, let's use together as a driving force instead of competition. That's just what I'm looking for. But we don't have to dig into it right now. But what you're telling me, Nathaniel, is that you actually put people together from all different parts of the world, and they manage to work together. So why couldn't we like use that setup for the whole system? That could be great. Right now, we need new ways of working and finding a trust in places where we didn't believe a trust could exist. That's interesting for me. I really believe this is a way forward.
Definitely. Yeah, because I know that next week they're going to do a global Hack the Crisis. And so it's going to be everyone who's already done Hack the Crisis might come back into it and work with other people. So it'll be interesting to see how, like, ideas build on ideas. And like you said, that we come together to make something that matters rather than come together for a prize. I really like resonate with what you said there.
Yeah, there is like a common good we want to both take part in and also contribute to. And yesterday we had, when Captain Future had a guest from Denmark, they had a hackathon in Denmark also on the crisis. And then I asked a very, it seemed as an odd question, but I believe it's a relevant one. What about hack for a new economy? So and they haven't even thought of it, I guess, yesterday. Dimitrij, you were in the same session. I believe this is what we really need right now. Okay, we also need direct solutions, operative, but we need new strategical and maybe ways of looking at the world.
I agree. Yeah, I would be interested in a hack for education as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
great,
especially in Australia right now. The world leaders are sort of really confused of what to do. And so a lot of the high school students, next week they have to return back to school. And it's sort of confusing because, we're told that the only 4 reasons we can go out are like exercise, immediate medical attention. But then yet high schoolers still have to go to school next week. So really interesting to explore, like, how are we actually changing this education system to possibly integrate it like onto like a online learning platform, and why are we struggling so much to do that?
Maybe also new ways to look at education. Is education something we learn from outside in, or is it some kind of a inside out process? You have been working a lot with this, Michael, with the Ikigai and so on.
Like there's so much work to be done there, and I think like a global event like Hack the Crisis like this open up a new door for collaboration. I've been online on Twitter and Facebook to try to find people like Nathaniel here and see if people respond on Facebook events, and see. There's of course many people have been busy during the hackathon, but there's some of us like veteran social media people who has been on Twitter for many years and searching, but there are also like many new people just coming on to Zoom calls and videos, just now getting their first experience what truly is to collaborate digitally. So that this skill curve and this movement going on now of people joining video calls over the world for the first time, we can really like ride on that to create new type of collaborations in education, in society and economics, to to host a lot more digital events that like was impossible to many people to go before, both of the travel costs and also the time taking to travel over the world to meet people like this. So
Yeah,
I
I got a
wouldn't
link,
have been able to meet Nathaniel in Australia.
No,
Just
and this
fly
is
down there.
yeah, that's right. And this is a living example of this, Michael. You invited me 5 minutes bore I got into this. That was not possible if I would have planned something, going to London or wherever to attend some kind of a summit. I mean, what you do right now, Michael, is extremely important, and show the rest of the world that it's possible to arrange those meetings and setups and connections. And I really love that you found Nathaniel. Have you ever spoken to each other before, or is this the first time, Michael and Nathaniel?
No, this is the first time. Yeah.
Great.
Michael messaged on the event page, and I was like, "Well, I love your stuff," so I decided to jump on. So
that is trust, I believe, in its pure sense. And Dimitrij, you're a world citizen, I guess. Have you ever been in a hackathon or near Australia before?
No, never. I have friends from Australia, but I'm not so familiar with Australia. But back to your question, Stellan, about that you asked yesterday, and I was thinking a little bit about that, because I understand what you're trying to point, because you're trying to get us to a little bit another dimension, because right now what we are doing is the same what we did like previously. Oh, we have a problem, let's brainstorm and solve it. And I was thinking about that. There one really big group here in the world that already in a little bit different mindset. It's called Burning Man culture. Are you familiar with Burning Man?
No,
He jumped out.
Yeah, but Burning Man it's a community. It's a festival in America where 80,000 people gathering together for 1 week, and it's not a festival just because there are no rules, there are only guidelines, and you are not just participants, you are a creator there. So everybody is creating something. So it's a totally different change, they view the world from the different point of view, and you cannot buy anything there, so there are no money, and during that festival it's only gifting, it's respect to each other, self-expression, and all those kind of things. And after the festival, it's also one of the guidelines is don't leave a trace. So if you visit that part of where they have festival, you will not even realize that they had 80,000 people there. And those types of festivals is all over the world also as well. Stellan, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I got it's strange. I got a telephone call interrupting the whole system, so I had to leave and go in again.
I'm just gonna follow up there on what
but I understand what you're talking about. You're talking about Burning Man, Australia.
And also Burning Man in America and in Copenhagen and in Denmark and everywhere. But those people, those festivals will be cancelled as well, and try to see if you are thinking of this new type of economy, new type of rethink of the things. Think of the people that are already in the mindset of experience and don't have this boxed in. I need to go to the job between 8 to 5, and I don't know, need to deliver. They're already in that, and use them to create new stuff.
Yeah, that's right. But the interesting thing is also with the Burning Man that they have 10 guiding principles on how everything should be done. So they have developed a different way of working than a normal business way of working. So I guess we could actually copy-paste some of those guiding principles. One of them is working together and also leave in a better shape than when you came and so on. So there are nice principles there that you can have as as a guide for setting up a new economy, because that was probably what you wanted to talk about when I immediately left the room.
Yeah. So there is like there's satellite bands all over the world. So there just found one in Australia called Burning Man Australia, and there should be a community like in most countries and most cities all over the world. So like try to reach out and find them there. Many of them have Facebook groups and homepages like this. So try to reach out to this community and bring them in the Global Hackathon next week, and do it now. Like see how people are ready, because so many people who are ready to design around global problems.
And I guess
many of the people joining the hackathon here in Sweden are also part of the Burning Man community.
And I guess really big in Stockholm. Those people are used to work with this type of guiding principles. And Dimitrij, maybe we can do a hack on the economy or the school or the social welfare system or whatever it is, and maybe we should focus on not specific solutions, more like how can we find guiding principles that are relevant and also not only guiding but in the way of working, but also guiding in the design of the systems. That would be really interesting.
Yeah, that's really interesting. In Australia, I know a couple that are like Burning Man as well, like New Kind Conference and Space. I'm not sure if you've heard of Space. But in Australia, it's quite big, and basically it's like an unconference. So people come in, and the conference isn't organized, but it's organized by the people. So each person is essentially in charge of like seeing the direction of where the conference goes. So people are selectively picked, and the content is curated. So each person comes to the conference with something particular to bring. So they'll each sort of run a workshop in order to create the conference. And so they create the conference from scratch from the people who are there. So it's really interesting, that sort of concept as well that you touched on.
Yeah, cool. And you use those kind of methodologies because there have been people practicing them for 20, 30 years. For instance, Open Space, Well Cafe, and other types of workshop formats.
Yeah, some of this called unconference or like Open Space and stuff like that. There's a lot to read up on. I've been participating in many cool festivals and organizations here doing both Open Space and unconference here in Sweden. So that's a very great way to organize. And when people show up to contribute instead of being a passive audience, there's a whole lot of energy in people showing up, and the conversations, the ideas, the celebration, everything takes another step. Just like a Burning Man event, that like is a participatory event. So that's called participatory culture, and you can call it.
Yeah, because you really just have to be more engaged because you're handpicked to be there. So like every person there has their unique, like really place.
And you're connected to your purpose in some way.
Exactly.
You are of your own free will.
You're there for the reason.
There for a reason because of your own choice. Maybe Michael, I have to leave. I have another call
great, you hosting the questions while I was posting some links online here. But how long can you stay on for, Nathaniel and Dimitrij? So
I could probably stay for another 10 minutes.
Then let's do that. So goodbye, Stellan.
But I say goodbye. Thanks, Nathaniel and Dimitrij.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, the same to you. Bye.
So next question is then, like, what happens next in Australia then? Like, are there people you're already talking about the global hack and stuff like that?
Yeah, so we really wanted to figure out a way that we could support them after the hackathon, because I know a sort of problem that a lot of hackers face is like, where do I go from here? I've spent 2 intense days pouring my life into this idea, but how do I actually take it to the next level? How do I actually take it into business? And so the way that we're trying to do that is we're sort of keeping that community open and facilitating conversation with the mentors who are there to give people the leg up and to take the ideas to the next level. So we worked with like local community accelerators like Spark Deacon, like my own organization, because I run Australia's top startup accelerator for school-aged entrepreneurs. And with the Hacker Exchange as well, who take students to Silicon Valley to really experiment with their ideas and see what it's like to take it into the real business world. So what we're doing is really sort of facilitating the next pathway and not just being like, stop at this hackathon, but this is what you can do next. This is how you can build your idea even more, and in a structured learning process as well.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. So you're taking your experience from like what you did previously and just like accelerating it right now.
Yeah, because what I do is I run something called Future Minds Network, and so that's an education startup that teaches students social entrepreneurship. So there's a big focus on sort of helping them to create impact projects that solve community solutions. So we've had everything from helping students to create an app that gamifies sleep to enhance well-being, all the way to like riverside cleanups, to mental health magazines. So yeah, really using that experience. It's called Future X, which is the startup accelerator, but using that experience to sort of like work with the participants and giving them the next steps on what we would normally do in my program, and the programs like the Hacker Exchange and Spark Deacon as well.
Do you do it during the school time or it's outside of school?
So it's external, yeah. And we've taught over 185 student entrepreneurs so far, and those are like the top student entrepreneurs that we've handpicked, and they've created like up to 20. I think it's up to 23 right now. 23 social enterprises. So it's been so amazing to see. These are students that are 16, 17, 18 years old, making businesses from scratch, and what's so powerful is sort of their passion to make an impact above all, because all of the businesses are directed towards one of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. I'm not sure if you've heard of them before, have you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Some people don't know about it, and I'm like, how can you? Yeah. But it's just so amazing. Like, they're tackling things like no poverty, like climate action, like, life below water. And they're so young. Yeah.
As a people that living in Sweden, we are required to know about those goals because it's one of the guys that design the whole designs of those goals is a Swedish guy.
I had no idea. Yeah, it's not that it's not very big in Australia. So
it's quite big in Sweden. It's all the government organization and the big organization are putting on the websites, because now the biggest challenge for those organizations when they're recruiting people that are younger, they're checking up what impact the organization is doing. So the organizations that doesn't work with those goals, they're losing those competent people, just because the people that are competent and young, they want to know what type of impact they will do.
The impact they're making.
So it's not just like searching for the jobs; they're searching for the specific
meaningful jobs. Really.
Yeah.
That's really powerful. Yeah, because as in Australia, we're not taught any of that in schools. It's not a big thing in businesses either. Sort of, businesses have a lot of like corporate social responsibility in terms of, we're sort of helping out in this area, we're helping out in the community. But the SDGs in particular isn't something that's really pushed. And so that's something that we really want to bring to the table, because it's so important. I mean, we only have, right now, it's 2020. We have 10 more years. And we're not bringing the brightest minds to the table, the young people who are filled with ideas and haven't been knocked down by life enough times yet to say, I give up. And so we really need to push for that. Yeah.
Exactly. And Dimitrij, he works at a very cool place in Helsingborg in southern Sweden here. And when you just walk into his place, the first thing you face is like this enormous cubes of the global goals. So that's amazing. And that sets the tone for every time you walk past them. Just subconsciously, that sets the tone for what this day is about or something like that. And I worked with a group called SDG Academy in Pakistan. I went there last year, and we are just organizing an event today, online hackathon event on a Zoom call. So if you want to join in, you're listening, I'll post a link in this comment. So I think it's in 4.5 hours, something like that. there's a post on my Facebook about, and so it's an open Zoom call for people over the world talking about SDGs from a global perspective, but also the local people in Pakistan. And I told them the same story there. Very few people know about the SDGs in a country like Pakistan, but they're very fond of printing large banners and hanging everywhere. So I told them, print a large banner of the SDGs. So you have seen, like, they're very iconic, they're colorful, they're very beautiful. So print that banner and hang it everywhere, in lobbies, in your company, lobbies in schools. So you just walk past, and when people who don't know of them can start to become curious about them and stuff like that, because it's very iconic when you see it. And also, I don't have it here, but there are a lot of people here. You can order online.
There's a pin as well.
The pin, right? You order it online on umpin.com. I'll share the link as well here. You can order a bunch of them. They're not cheap, so they're especially with customs here in Sweden. But you can order them or give them away, or just sell them, because I've sold a lot and I've given a lot away because many people want it. Oh, I want that. Okay, cool. I have one, and some people buy them. Some people I just give them away because they want them on the coat. So we're spreading, especially many people here in Sweden, start wearing them in special bubbles, of course. But in a lot of entrepreneur startup culture, so it's great to just wear the pin, and it's a conversation starter in itself as well. So order a pin and print a banner if you have the ability now. Now that not people are physical anymore, but when you participate in a meeting like this, you can say, I will start wearing my pin here. So
wear my pin over here. Yeah, that's so awesome. I've actually only seen that pin twice in my whole life. So that goes to show how common it is in Australia compared to Sweden. So very different there. But the pins are very great. Like, get on that.
Cool.
What's your thought about this, Dimitrij? About share?
About
the visual cue of the cubes you have in your lobby and everything. Why do you have them?
It's really important, not just visualization, but working with that. I'm more curious about, like, how schools are doing it here in Sweden. All the teachers get so much information, so it's easy to use them. To teach kids, just because they're, like, already prepared things. So my kids already know about the goals and understand what they're meaning, and even when they're working with school projects, they're connecting to what type of goals they're trying to achieve in the school projects. So I think it's also education needs to have more support. So it's easy to implement. So, like, school teachers can just push some button, print it, everything, and the lecture is already ready. That also, like, not only teaching something kids, but also connected to those goals.
That's so interesting. So in Sweden, does it start, like, in primary school or in high school? Like, where do you start learning about the goals?
My 11 years old daughter knows about the goals. My 6 years old already been doing some projects that connected to the goals. So they're like, I don't think it's regulated somehow, but there's so much material and there's so much different things that teachers can just easily take and distribute it. So that is what's created that, like, information flows from, like, we have a website with the goals and we need to achieve them, and there's some big organizations that behind that, to the simple, like, one teacher that, like, should teach 6 or 7 years old something, can easily, like, take it and distribute it and teach.
That's crazy, because it's definitely not like that here. And so, like, I think in 2 weeks we're running a workshop on Zoom. And we're inviting, like, 15 to 25-year-olds all to come and learn about the SDGs. And how we're going to run that is we're going to go, like, a basic introduction, and then we're going to sort of break out into passion areas, and we'll sort of brainstorm ideas and really explore the complexities further, because, the SDGs, sure, they're very clear in terms of what they solve, but within each one, it's so complex. Like, within no poverty, there's so many facets to what contributes to that poverty. So we really want to explore that with like university and high school students and get that awareness going.
But do you know there are sub goals as well?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
There's like 4.1.1, 4.1.2. It's so interesting because there's so many like different factors, and really what's special is that everything connects. Like everything comes back together. Like one goal is always relevant to another goal in some way.
If you're teaching entrepreneurs and kids, what I would do is I would go to the companies that everybody is familiar with and check their websites, and maybe if they don't publish it on the website, ask the marketing director there to see what goals they're working with, to be able to give examples of like, okay, there are some big producer of, I don't know, chocolate or something in your area, and maybe they're working with poverty, whatever things. So the kids can reflect over, wow, that company is working with that goal.
We don't have that at all. Yeah, that'd be interesting to implement. Yeah,
and interesting for you just to ask big companies if they're working or not. Because probably the marketing directors already heard about that, and maybe they're doing something. So you can distribute the information to the kids about that, and inspire them that big companies starting to work with that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's 4 p.m. Swedish time for the Hackathon. Hack for Pakistan global call if anyone want to join in. So that's in 5.5 hours. Yeah.
5.5.
Yeah.
Awesome. How long is the hackathon going to go for, Michael?
The SDG Hackathon, we're on the third week now. So we started the first week with a lot of calls, and then we do one call per week, and we highlight the free goals in each call now for the coming weeks as well. So and there'll be some really good international people from all over the world participating in this call. So this will be an amazing conversations to bring it to like a global perspective on what's going on, and it's of course a big focus on the COVID-19 crisis right now.
That's so cool. Is it a lot? Would you say that it's much more engaged than sort of just the 2-day hackathon? Because you're saying
this is not like a real hackathon. It's more like an online conversation. It was supposed to be both a digital and a physical event, but thanks to Corona, now we just switched to full digital. And but there's many great people on place in Pakistan, and Sadaf who runs this, and also Amar Jaffrey is an amazing guy who has been like working with the international governments for his whole life. So he's very like high level person in that respect. So he's like all the international contacts you need to have like when you do international collaborations like this. So
that's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, I've recently. This morning I was talking to someone in the US, and we're running like a youth entrepreneur summit, because right now, US is having similar problems with like high school, and so like what's everyone doing right now? And so we got together like 2 speakers who are like founders themselves, and we're basically just going to dig into how did they really achieve their measures of success at such a young age, and sort of like give a opportunity for like young entrepreneurs to network and share their projects like literally across the world, because we'll have people from US and Australia like jumping on board. So it's really cool how like right now, although COVID-19 has taken us further apart, it's also brought us closer together, and it's like allowed us to run events globally because now there's a push for digital, and so that's a really interesting like perspective there.
Cool. Any closing thoughts and feelings now? How we go on? I share the links and everything here. So, what's we keep in contact now, of course, Nathaniel. So, what's the next step? Yeah, and we will help you start facilitate and accelerate the movement in Australia. If you reach out to me, Aleshkov, Stellan, or other people here, and we will share knowledge, links, inspiration, whatever you need. So, There's a great organization of many great people here I know in Sweden and the Nordics, and also many people in the US working on similar challenges. So check out my Flow and Facebook. I constantly post and share things there as well. So
yeah, definitely will. It's so good to see like all of you passionate about the SDGs as well, because that's just so rare in Australia, and you people in Sweden must be like, what is this guy talking about?
No.
It is so strange, I guess, to actually meet people who know what the SDGs are, and that's why like we really need that push in Australia. So
yeah, let's do that then.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I have to head off now, but thanks for the conversation. It was really interesting and insightful.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Bye.
Michael. Thanks, Dimitrij.
Yeah.
Bye.
And what's your so the final thoughts from Captain Future, of course. I don't think anyone is coming on. I'm going to go live later today. See if I can find more guests. Many of the mentors and judges and everything and organizers in Sweden are still frantically busy doing the event. No one has had the time to come up. So as soon as they have time, maybe later tonight or tomorrow, I will try to bring as many of the people I know online as well. And if you're listening from another country and participate in this, reach out to me and I'll host a call. I do it whenever people are available. So let's just continue this global conversation and join in later today for the Zoom call. I just posted the link here for the SDG hackathon for Pakistan. We're also having other calls here today, Zoom calls. So if any way, shape or form you can join in this global conversation, reach out to me or the people, or organize your own event and stuff like that. So great everyone for staying with me so long, and let's do this. We are a global community. We use the hashtag Hack the Crisis, as you can see, and also Digital Together. It's not social distancing, it's physical distancing. Like our bodies have to stay apart, but we are definitely social together, even if we stand a few meters apart when we meet outside, or especially online. We are socially together, so it's no social distancing ever. So keep spreading the word that this is not social distancing, it's only physical distancing. We are digital together, we are online together, or whatever hashtag or name you want to use. So like we do this together. Things like all these hackathons wasn't even people didn't conceive of them just a month ago. So this has happened so fast, and there's a lot of things that happen so fast now in the time of crisis that brings us together. So let's keep spreading the word and doing this together, everyone. And this is used in this. There's some questions. What app am I using? I'm using an online web platform that is either free, or you can use the paid form if you want to stream to more than one place. I'm streaming to both my personal Facebook and YouTube right now, but you can stream to 2 Facebook if you use the paid version, or the full professional version. You can stream to unlimited channels if you want to use that. But the free version is up and running as well. So just use the web service. You can use on a laptop or on computer. You can use Opera, Firefox, or Chrome, and on mobile you can use any browser. I think even Safari works on iPhone at least. So let's do this and see what we can use. Make your own call in your own studio and your own show. Keep talking to people, invite people to talk on like this, and we spread the word about SDGs, hackathons, collaboration, innovation, creativity, Burning Man, participatory culture, and everything. And it will be very cool to see what we can do together. So peace, everyone, and thanks for staying with me for this long. And let's do this. Bye.